Hello everyone. So I have been busy playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links and also Yu-Gi-Oh! Link Evolution, both on Steam. So I actually got to level 20 of the KC Cup on Duel Links and into the second round after April 10th because I am a complete whale and I have a top tier Lightsworn deck with 3 Judgment Dragons. So on Link Evolution, I've been using a Goki deck. I don't have Isolde yet. I don't know what pack Isolde is in. I've been pretty much steamrolling the OG anime opponents just to get points and to buy more packs because it's easy to get to rack up points like that in that game. I just want to say I think it's cool that such good Yu-Gi-Oh games exist on Steam because in these difficult times in the world, at least I can play Yu-Gi-Oh on my PC still. So anyway, this is a April 2020 Battlin Boxer deck profile. This is an older deck, but it's really not that horrible. It reminds me of a worse Teller Knight because you got your special summon from graveyard upon summon effect, and also your dump from deck upon summon effect. This deck, it doesn't have a powerhouse rank 4 like Trivor, like the Teller Knights have, but still it's a deck that I wanted to try out for this Master Rule revision. So let's get started. 3 switch hitter. So this is your Tellarknight Altair specialing from Grave, except it's only upon normal and it locks you into Battlin Boxers for the rest of the turn. It's still an essential card in the deck though because you need more materials to go into your Battlin Boxer rank 4s. 3 Spars. This is one card whose effect Tellarknights actually lack, which is a free special summon of itself. So this is another staple in the deck because the rank 4 toolbox is your main point of attack, whether it's Dweller or Exciton Knight or the Battlin Boxer rank 4s. Spar does stop you from attacking the turn it's summoned, but still I would say one that you want to play at 3. 3 Glassjaw. This is one you don't have to play at 3. This card pops itself when it's targeted for an attack, and when it's destroyed by a card effect, you recur, including its own card effect, you recur from the graveyard. So this card, and really the whole deck, has obviously been power crept at this point in the game's evolution, but in a slower back and forth kind of duel, it can be good to get your resources back. 3 Counterpunch. This card is actually quite good because it's a quick effect in the hand and in the graveyard, boosting your Battlin Boxer's attack by 1,000. Unfortunately, this deck, it really lacks a way to reliably add this card to your hand. 2 Shadow. Detach from a Battlin Boxer XYZ monster you control to special summon this card. Again, just like a lot of decks, a big part of this deck is to swarm the field. So this card, it doesn't have any restrictions too. Unlike some of these other monsters that stop you from attacking or only allow you to go into Battlin Boxer XYZs. So this card, hopefully you can go into Utopia the Lightning the same turn that you special summon this card, and that's how you push for game. 2 Headgeared. Send 1 from deck to grave upon normal. It's a good opening play, this card, but it can be slow and you don't want to see it too often. 2 Veil. So this is when you take battle damage, you special summon this card from the hand, and then you gain life points, the life points you just lost back. It's another kind of wrench that you can throw in the gears during your opponent's turn, and it's a pretty easy body to put on the field. Finally, for the Battlin Boxers, 2 Big Bandage. This one is optional in my opinion. I decided to run it because I want it to be a legitimate Battlin Boxer deck that can be fairly called a Battlin Boxer deck. It can't be destroyed by battle once per turn, and also makes all Battlin Boxers you control become the level of one of the Battlin Boxers in your graveyard or banished. So it requires you to have other monsters on the field and in the graveyard or banished to be useful. But it does have that battle protection too, so it's worth running, I would say. You could take it out though and put in maybe more hand traps or generic spell staples. And then 3 Ash Blossoms. So I only included these instead of more hand traps because, like I said, I wanted it to be still true to the Battlin Boxer name. But you could take out the big bandages, maybe 1 Veil, and put in 3 Veilers, for example. Spells, 3 Battlin Boxer Spirits, so you mill 1 and then you resurrect 1, similar to Monster Reborn, but with a mill, and it's in defense mode too, that you bring it back in. The mill is really only helpful to set up the graveyard for switch hitter, or if you mill Counterpunch, which is the one that works in the graveyard. But this is really the support spell for the deck, and it's really not that strong. I wish there was a search card. So we got some equip spells now. Phoenix Blade, Living Fossil, Moon Mirror Shield, XYZ Unit, and Overdone Burial. So Phoenix Blade recurs itself. I do run Twin Twister, so it's discard fodder. Living Fossil is just a great card. You always want more monsters on the field. Moon Mirror Shield helps in battle. XYZ Unit is an extra material to be detached for your XYZ monsters, and Overdone Burial brings back one of your lower level Battlin boxer monsters, probably used as link material. And then we just got some staples. Mind Control. I do run some Link monsters, even though it's the Master Roar revision. I don't have to anymore. Instant Fusion, this is just to go into the rank 4s. Raigeki, I just needed one more card. Twin Twisters, you always could put this card in here, and I do run Nightmare Phoenix. So I got this card plus Nightmare Phoenix for my back row removal. Monster Reborn, this is just a really good card in this deck, as it is in a lot of slower decks that need that extra material. And then Rhoda, because the whole deck is Warriors. And then finally for the main deck, 3 Solemn Judgment. So this is for defense because this is an older deck that can and probably should play at least some traps. It's not like a new deck where every monster in the deck is a combo piece that pluses you 1 or 2 or multiple. So that's just not how these older decks work. So Judgment being at 3, it's probably the best overall defense for this kind of a deck, an older deck. So for the extra 2, number 79, Nova Kaiser. So this card lets you attach 1 material to it from the hand or graveyard once per turn, and then it gains 100 attack for each material it has. What you're trying to do is get this card on the field and then accumulate materials, and then just have this as a floater. So when it is destroyed, you special from the graveyard up to the number of materials this card had. The best board, in my opinion, if you can pull it off, you can. It is possible to get both this card, one of the Nova Kaisers, and 1 Lead Yoke on the field at the same time. So Lead Yoke protects any single Battlin boxer, usually itself, from destruction, and then gains 800 attack after detaching. It doesn't have, it's not as good of a beat stick as this card. Right off the bat, because you have to detach. So usually I go into this first, but you can sometimes pull it off where you have 2 of these on the first turn, and that's really what you're trying to do with this deck. So we just got some staples here. Dweller for shutting down the graveyard. Exciton Knight. This is the kind of deck where you oftentimes can only go into 1 single monster, especially later in the game when you don't have too many cards at hand. So this is a card where it can make a difference just being the single card on the field. Giant Hand, just for another quick effect that this deck kind of lacks. We got the Utopia package. So this is probably a little bit more appropriate than Borosword in this deck because Borosword requires 4 materials. This is a rank 4 kind of deck that oftentimes can only output 2 monsters on the field. So this is an easier card to go into. And I am running some links, even though I don't have to in this Master Roar revision days, but I'm running the Hita. So this card is a beater for being a link 2, and it is a searcher. When it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can search any fire monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck. So the whole deck, it's pretty much all the Battlin boxes except for a couple of them. It's the most reliable searcher. In addition to Isolde too. These 2 are really the only searchers in this deck, and Isolde is obviously the reason that all of those equip spells are in the deck. So you're going for 2 rank 4s in 1 turn, or Isolde plus 1 rank 4 in 1 turn. That's pretty much the board that you're trying to accomplish. And we just have some more staples, Phoenix and Unicorn, for some generic removal situations. I am running a Skull Dread because this deck really lacks draw power. If you have 4 materials on board, it can be worth it to go into a Skull Dread just for that excavating effect. And finally, I am running this Carbonella Warrior, which is a level 4 for your rank 4s, as well as a Warrior for your Isolde. And that's pretty much it for the Battlin Boxer April 2020 deck profile. This is an older deck, but with some of the newer cards, especially Isolde, is what makes this deck somewhat competitive. You can sometimes have a shot with this deck, and it's definitely a budget deck, so not a horrible option too for us budget players. So see you later. Have a good one.